Hello, the following presentation is my portrait of a literacy leader. I decided to interview one of our K-5 core instructional literacy coaches, and her name is Tracy. And she is one of two K-5 core instructional literacy coaches that we have for the district. And she works within 8 elementary schools, and then the other literacy coach works with the elementary schools. And so she comes in with 18 years of prior teaching experience. And so I thought that she would be a great candidate. And I will kind of talk about all the ways that she helps coach us as educators. Here is a list of my interview questions. I wanted to get kind of a background on my instructional coach and this experience that she brings in, and then also wondering about some goals that she had, and just really talking about, are people taking opportunities or advantages of these opportunities that she's offering with coaching cycles and the website she's making. And also, is she just feeling hands-on in this position that she's in, and any next steps that she's looking to take after this position. And then my district has been doing a lot of equity trainings. And so I was curious to see if she participates in those, and what other trainings that she's in, and if she feels that the work she's doing is working towards our equity goal as a district. To start with the first standard, this is the foundational knowledge. And off to the left, I put just the overview of what this standard entails for a literacy coach. And as I was reading this and the different components, Tracy was a previous teacher, and she was a teacher for 18 years within kindergarten through 5th grade, mostly the younger grades. And she also understands her role, and she helps with multiple schools. And so she is spread across 8 schools, and she is working with about 45 teachers right now within this coaching cycle. And so this previous experience is helping kind of build that foundation of literacy knowledge, and is using that to kind of have that professional learning within these coaching cycles that she conducts. And also working on some task force through the district for literacy. And so she just was able to bring the knowledge that she has from teaching and from schooling, and help with school-wide literacy programs throughout the district. For the second standard, curriculum and instruction, I feel like this is a huge kind of core standard that goes along with a literacy coach. And so when interviewing her and talking about the development and kind of the evaluation of our literacy curriculum as a school, we discussed how she analyzes new curriculum. And this is very relevant for this year, because at the beginning, we were introduced to a new reading mini lesson book by Fontes and Pinnell, and also new word study by Fontes and Pinnell. And so she was able, with her co-coach, was able to analyze this new curriculum, and I'll get into that a little bit later as well. She develops literacy lessons for teachers to use, which is this website that they design, and it houses the resources in the lessons. And so there's professional development videos that we can watch. And then the lessons that they design, we can use those in the classroom, or it's been especially nice because during COVID, if we have to be quarantined, or when we were remote last year, we were able to push those lessons out for our students. And so then also with the coaching teachers, they conduct monthly coaching cycles. And so, like I said in my previous slide, she said she has about 45 teachers right now that she is in a coaching cycle with. And then she's also just having to balance those multiple schools. And so, I know is one thing that maybe she could change or would hope for in a perfect world, she said, is to not have as many schools, and really be able to have that focus in one school. But she said she's working with what she has, and we really appreciate everything that she's done, especially with those online resources. The third standard focuses on assessment and evaluation. And so this is centered around with the coach being able to look at these assessment tools that the district has for literacy and how are they monitoring student progress. And so working with teachers just to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all students and how we can be doing that with these different assessments in our school-wide instruction. And so Tracy collaborates with teachers using data. And so this is a big point that she said usually guides the coaching cycles, and it really helps to gauge student growth. And so the assessment tools and the data that's collected from those is a big component of some of her coaching cycles that she's in. And so then they're able to look at every student and make sure that they're growing and that they're meeting the needs of all of the students. And one thing she said that I was not aware of before this is that she said we are also involved in school improvement goals and the professional development around those goals. And so within the 8 schools that she is in, she meets with the principals for planning, and she really understands what our school improvement goal is for literacy. And then on institute days or late start days, she's able to host some professional development towards those goals. The fourth standard for literacy coach is diversity and equity. And so this is demonstrating knowledge of just those foundational theories, pedagogies, and essential concepts of the diversity and equity, as well as the ability to apply this knowledge to their daily practice working with teachers and students. And so this was a big topic that we discussed during our interview, because I was curious on if they participate in the equity trainings that us teachers do. And so, like I mentioned earlier, my school district just adopted last year these equity trainings. And so they do participate in all of those. And then they also have additional trainings that they go to through Lesley University, which I was not aware of. And this focuses on how to make the curriculum more equitable and diverse. And so one thing that I mentioned earlier, that they're really looking over the curriculum as it comes to our district. And this new interactive read aloud curriculum by Fontes and Pinnell that we have, they cross-checked that new curriculum. And so Stacy, who's the other coach of K5, Tracy said, Stacy and I also cross-checked the entire interactive read aloud collections for K through 5 and made a spreadsheet of all of the elements of diversity in them. And so this spreadsheet, I have not seen it. I'm not sure. I don't think it's out to the public. I did not ask. But that is something that makes me feel better about making sure that my classroom and what I'm using in my classroom is diverse and equitable, and that these read alouds that we're using has those elements of diversity in them. For the 5th standard, this is learners and the literacy environment. And so this is where the coach is supporting and facilitating colleagues' ability to meet the developmental needs of all learners. And this is where the digital and print materials come in, and integrating technology. And this will help foster that positive climate with a literacy-rich learning environment. And I think this is help our coaches really excel. And they, like I said earlier, they're using the data to help teachers help guide teachers to meet needs of all learners from the assessments that we talked about earlier. And then one thing that they do an awesome job of is they created a Google site website, and this is where there's a bunch of digital resources for high engagement from teachers, and then we can send those out for students to use the specific lessons. And then another thing that I like is that educators can choose the focus of the coaching cycle to best meet the students' needs. And so I know in my coaching cycle that I'm in right now, I'm really focusing on just kind of small group work in the upper grades. And this is where one area where I feel like I can improve. And so we're talking about how to best implement those small groups and just kind of what that looks like in my reading workshop time. And so this is one area where I feel like we have a lot of great support is in that digital and print resources for our learners. Professional learning and leadership is the 6th standard. And so this is our coaches demonstrating ability to be reflective literacy professionals and critically analyze and synthesize research, policy, and promising practices, and then applying this knowledge to working with adults and the individuals and bringing in those coaching skills. And so they use leadership and coaching skills within coaching cycles. And so what they've learned from their professional learning and becoming a coach, they're able to bring those skills into the coaching cycles when working with teachers. Like I've discussed before, they're analyzing that curriculum. And so they're applying the knowledge of the curriculum when collaborating with adults and students. And so since they know the curriculum like the back of their hand and did a deep dive into it, then they can use that knowledge when working with teachers. They are attending training sessions on best practices and curriculum changes. And so Tracy stated, I also have a coach. I attend training sessions about every other month with Pam Rosa, who is a coaching consultant hired to train us. And so this was another area that I was unfamiliar with, that she actually has a coach and gets to meet with them about every other month. And Tracy does book studies with her other instructional coach, which is Stacy. And they do book studies together just to make sure that they are keeping up with that research and the professional development that they need to best support the students and the teachers. And lastly, for the 7th standard, this is practicum and clinical experiences. And this just kind of touches on the experiences that they have as a coach and kind of leading up to that. And so I just talked about how there was professional development that they stay involved in for continued practice. And then they will always continue to look at curriculum and how the development of it for our school district. And so then they can kind of bring that back to our principals and collaborate school-wide with us teachers on this information.